Well, it wasn't the nicest day, but it was something a little bit unique. We don't get freezing rain very often in this part of the world, and even though it was miserable and cold and the wind was blowing, I just had to go and see it. And I'm pretty glad I did. True, the weather was nasty, but everything was coated with ice, including the roads. But it all just sparkled. It turned everything into jewels. Even things like this elk hair. And the barbed wire it was snagged on. It coated the thorns on roses and weighed down the autumn leaves that were still hanging on the branches. But it was a phenomenon that was going to be pretty short-lived because overnight, it turned to snow. And it got even colder. The day before this, Muskrat had been paddling through open water. Now he was diving below the ice. But it also wasn't quite as nasty. In fact, the snow helped the traction on the roads. And it certainly didn't bother the deer. This little white-tailed buck really seemed to enjoy finding all that frozen fireweed. And this doe, after stopping to check me out, they do love to stare down a lens. She just went on with her day. A day that was really showing the transition from fall to, well, I don't want to say it, but you know what I mean. And I gotta admit, it did look kinda nice. When those flakes were coming down, especially the bigger ones, and I switched the camera over to slow motion, yeah, it was quite pretty. But pretty only compensates for so much. Watching that snow accumulate, I felt kind of like this bald eagle. I wanted to just hunch up and wait for it to pass. These rough-legged hawks, they just got here from the Arctic. They were probably enjoying this weather. So I guess maybe we should too. We don't really get a very long autumn as it is. And that transition time between autumn and, the next season is often pretty erratic. The coming weeks could bring warmth that will melt all this ice and snow. Or maybe just bring more of it. But no matter what happens, it is that time of year. The time of year for changes.